what was probably the standout fixture of the weekend. If you saw the fixtures, certainly going into the weekend, you would have said, Man United, Arsenal at Old Trafford. This is one of the kind of the classic blockbusters of the Premier League era. You would have been really excited for it. You would have thought maybe there'll be goals flying in left, right, centre, some good attacking football. Didn't quite play out that way. John, tell us a little bit about what happened in the game. What was the result?
Well, Aubameyang, he's getting a lot of stick. He hadn't scored in a few games, but when it mattered, the big players, they step up, they take those penalties, and they don't miss. The game was, I wouldn't say it was disappointing. I watched it. It was quite tactical. I think it was better than the Man United Chelsea game, I must say. But it was a little bit of a standoff where I think both teams. I think United didn't really want to lose the game. I think Arsenal dominated, but they also kind of didn't overcommit sometimes like they usually do, which I thought was good. I think they had good balance. I think Partey was excellent. El Neni looks like a £40 million signing now.
Did you see that clip of him chasing down the ball at the end, like 91st minute pressing?
Yeah. Proper
impressive.
screening and pressing.
Yeah.
I think I was applauding that, I must say, because it was a good performance from Arsenal. I don't remember us being cut open. I don't remember being worried at all. When Cavani came on, I thought, oh, you can see it like written in the stars. You're like, oh bloody hell, like he'll get the equaliser. But the way they played when he came on, they just looked disjointed. They just looked lost, and I just thought, no, Arsenal are going to see this one out. I tell you when I did really worry is when I saw Mustafi. And I couldn't find my phone, and I was going to put it in the WhatsApp group. At that time, I was like, it's going to be 1-1. Mustafi's coming on. But I lost my phone briefly. So I never said it. But yeah, when I saw him running on, I thought, oh no, penalty. He's going to give a penalty away.
It was an odd substitution. Who did he come on for at that point?
It was late as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. It
was it Tierney or someone? Or?
No, it was an attacking player. It was Aubameyang.
Okay.
Yeah, Aubameyang got yellow carded.
Because he walked off, yeah.
Yeah, he took his time. And I was just like, oh, man, like, there's no threat now going forward. So United are just going to be ultra attack. I don't like that substitution that managers make. Obviously, they get paid millions of pounds more than me. They're more highly qualified. But that's just a substitution I really hate when, say you're trying to hold on to a 1-0, like, say, use Greg with, say, Spurs, and you take off, say, Son and Kane or something and bring on two defenders. That just says, come and attack us.
Yeah, we put on Ben Davies with like 5 minutes left on centre-back. It was like, what the fuck do you think you're doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that. But no, overall, I can't be disappointed. I think the standout players for me were Thomas Partey and Mohamed El Neni. I thought that they really bossed that midfield. They made Pogba look like he cost 12 pence. I think they bossed the game. And I think we deserved it. I think anything other than the 3 points for Arsenal that day would have been unfair.
Tom, do you agree with that? And particularly comments about Pogba and the Man United midfield at the moment?
Yeah, I didn't see much of the game, unfortunately, but I think definitely the conversations that I've seen about Pogba recently and the way that he's playing for a player with such pedigree and such obvious quality and who they paid so much for, he's a World Cup winner, and yet they've managed to spend how long has he been at the club? Like 3-4 years, and like since he's returned, and they're still not quite sure how to get the best out of him. They've put another, obviously really talented player in Fernandes next to him, and now they've got some sort of like Gerrard Lampard situation where they're like, can they play together? How do they complement each other? They're talking about putting Pogba out on the wing. Again, like very similar to like the Gerrard Lampard situation of old. And it's just like, how do you get into this situation when you spent so much on a player that he's still a question mark? He obviously is talented, so you kind of have to go back to the manager.
John's just saying his internet's dropping out a bit at the moment. There he is. He's back.
I'm back.
Yeah, no.
What happened there? Did I freeze?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, okay,
I completely agree about that. Like that, you've got a bit of a Gerrard Lampard, or there is a bit of a Gerrard Lampard situation between those two. And I was actually quite surprised when he took Fernandes off and left Pogba on, because I would have done the opposite. I thought Pogba just didn't look with it in that game. And this guy, he's such an exciting player when he's at the top of his game, and he's clearly one of the, probably at least top 10 midfielders in the world, probably higher maybe, if he's playing at the absolute peak of his game. But at the moment, he just, I don't know, he looked disinterested, and I hate to say that about players. When you don't know what, it's very easy to put like a mentality onto a player just from
nobody
like
likes
watching
a body
them.
language expert.
Yeah, exactly. But I did think he just didn't quite look up for it. And I guess if you look at his opposite number in that game, which was, well, maybe El Nene, but probably Thomas Partey, who I like the fact that he's wearing Thomas on the back of his shirt as well. I think that's new. I don't think he had Thomas on the back of his Madrid shirt, but I may be wrong. Thomas Partey had a very good game. I think he got a lot of praise from Roy Keane. We've lost John again very briefly. But Greg, is Thomas Partey suddenly kind of looking worth that money, that £45 million price tag?
I think he can be, yeah. I think he's going to be a really important player for Arsenal. I think he's a great bit of business for sure. It shows the ambition that Arteta's got. I think that Arteta could be quite a exciting project. I think I just want to pick up on something John said earlier about United's attitude towards the game. He said that United looked like they didn't want to lose that game. And I think that perfectly surmises the whole attitude of United. Then they're looking a bit toothless in the league. We can say that. I think the attitude is now just, if we can, secure top four, but just don't lose this game. Just don't lose that next game. This is not the United that we're used to. And I think it perfectly encapsulates that whole game, really.
Yeah. I actually felt sorry so Donny van de Beek got, maybe like 20 minutes in that game. And I was just thinking, like, if you look at the movement in the Ajax team that he's come from, and the synergy between all the players and the passing style and the triangles and everything, like, it's just not there at Man United at the moment. And I know in some games it might be the Europa League game in the week where they won 5-0. Yeah, sure, they played it off the park on that occasion, but there just doesn't seem to be a consistent Manchester United club brand or club whatever, like playing style, and I think that's really holding them back at the moment, because pretty much, even down to, you'd say Leicester have a very clear playing style, Wolves have a very clear playing style, Crystal Palace have a very clear playing style, like 15, 16, 17, whatever teams in the Premier League have a clear game plan that you kind of, what it is, but also it's relatively unplayable. Whereas Manchester United, I couldn't really tell you what their playing style is. It's kind of give it to the player that might be on form that day, which could be Rashford on one occasion, could be Martial on one occasion, could be Fernandes. But I don't know. Like, there's a lot missing there, and it's certainly it's a troubling time. So that brings us on to the question. The big question is, and we've had this a couple of episodes ago. We discussed the same thing. Does Ole keep his job still? Like, when what is too much? When is breaking point for between him and Ed Woodward, or him and the Glaziers, whatever? Like, whoever's making that decision, it's probably even him and Alex Ferguson. I would think Ferguson probably has a lot of say in that situation. And I'll come to the Liverpool fan here on the show, who probably, has as much interest in it as anyone else. But yeah, Tom, when is that breaking point? And, is there anything comparable in Liverpool's recent history as to, like, kind of where Man United are at the moment? Is there a time from Liverpool's last 15 years that you can remember, like, they kind of hit a brick wall and they're just not going anywhere?
I think Man United are reliving Liverpool's 1990s. I think there's perhaps in terms of the personnel in charge at the moment, Solskjaer, you'd compare it more to the Kenny Dalglish's second spell, and the sort of reluctance to get rid of someone who's thought of very fondly at the club.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing this great clip online of a Liverpool fan, a Man United fan talking, and the Liverpool fan said, "You just don't understand how easily it can happen. Like once you start falling off the top, you just assume you're too big for it to happen to you, but it can, and that is what's happening to United." And it was heartwarming earlier for you to say that they played a European game and assumed it was in the Europa League, because that's kind of the level that they seem to be at now. It's just like
it was Champions League.
Yeah, Champions League.
Who was the opponent? Who did they play in the week?
Leipzig this week.
Leipzig, okay, which is a good top of Bundesliga.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to them. I think those results in Europe, they're sort of punching to a more traditional Man United weight.
Yeah.
When they're getting those results against PSG and Leipzig, and I think those results will keep Solskjaer going if he can keep those up. I mean, they won't put up with him being 15th for too long, but while he's smashing it in Europe, I think definitely it'll last a little bit longer. As I was saying in the group chat to you guys the other day, I mean, as much as I'm enjoying it, it's wild to watch the likes of Neville and Keane defend him, and it is really taking the pressure off Solskjaer. Long may it continue, to be fair, but I don't think it will.
Yeah, I mean, John, is there anyone, in a hypothetical situation or a almost probable situation that Solskjaer is out of a job by, let's say, January or maybe a little bit after that? Is there anyone that you can think of that might be kind of worthy of that job or that would take on that job at this point?
It's got to be Pochettino.
Yeah, Poch. Would that be all right?
That's what the fans are calling for.
But okay, my thing with that is, no, he would be perfect. No one asks the question: would Pochettino want that job? Does he want that job? Does he want to deal with the board up top? I mean, Ole's a yes man, so he's going along with it. He's absolutely fine. They got rid of Jose because he was causing problems with them and chatting shit about them as he does. Pochettino, he can do a lot with very little, as we've seen at Southampton and indeed Tottenham. I mean, he's doing the Monday Night Football today. He looks good. He looks happy. He doesn't need that. I mean, he wants to get back into management, but I mean, I don't know if he'd want the Manchester United job. It's a bit of a poison chalice at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a huge personality, similar to Klopp being a huge personality coming in and changing a club like I feel like he has done with Liverpool. Would you say United are in a worse position than maybe Liverpool were under Brendan Rodgers before Klopp came in? Tom?
Yeah, I think they are worse because at least under Rodgers, we'd nearly won the league a couple of years before, and then obviously the wheels came off completely.
Yeah.
Whereas Man United haven't looked anywhere near since Ferguson left. I mean, obviously they finished second under Mourinho, and everyone laughed when he said that it was his greatest achievement. And actually, it's looking truer and truer. So yeah, to be honest, I think they probably are in a worse position.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it's apples and oranges, isn't it? But
yeah, it's not actually in the in our show notes for today, but the president-elect, or the guy that's sort of going to take over, one of the guys that's running for the presidency of Barcelona. Did you see his comments about bringing Pep back in to manage Barcelona next year?
By the summer, I called it last week.
Think he could be tempted?
Oh, 100%. Of course he will.